So what has changed in the world in the last 8 years that even common man is talking about artificial intelligence?
November 30th, 2022. That's when, for the first time, I would say the world has realized that there's something that had changed.
What I'm really afraid is if you see the rise of people like Osama bin Laden, they were engineers and they use the technology to do attacks. Now AI is giving power to everyone, good people, bad people.
Vinod Khosla spoke about there are going to be a billion developers. Billion developers. You can ask the machine to write in Python or write it in JavaScript or TypeScript or whatever language, just with one prompt. What you look at it like day to day, like how much time that you spend just on the screen, how many ads do you see, how many news articles that you see, how do you know that these are not fake?
It will be very hard to differentiate what is truth, what is not.
This probably is the biggest challenge.
Hi, this is Siddharth Aluwalia and welcome to The Neon Show. This episode's guest is the co-founder of a business software company in the Bay Area. Before this venture, he was SVP engineering at the unicorn SaaS company Nutanix. But his journey actually started through growing up in a small village in Jharkhand. It's my pleasure to welcome DevRev's Manoj Agarwal on the show. I would also like to thank our sponsors, Prime Venture Partners, for sponsoring the Neon Show. Hope you enjoy it. You graduated from IIT in 97, went to US in 2000. I think you joined Dheeraj in Nutanix in 2009.
Yeah, I joined Dheeraj in 2013.
2013.
Beginning of 2013.
When the company was just 4 years old.
Yeah, but 50 developers at that point.
And you led the entire engineering team. You became SVP engineering.
Yeah. No, so I was, initially I joined for a very small part of Nutanix engineering. But over time, quite a major chunk that I led. But many of the new initiative, like the second product and third product and fourth product that I got to work on from ground up. Yeah.
Nutanix today is a $10 billion company traded on the US public markets on NASDAQ.
I mean, like the 2016, I remember just being at this IPO.
The New York Stock Exchange.
New York Stock Exchange. It was at NASDAQ. That's where we did. And you don't realize at that point, just the moment itself, that when you are in that room, that a history is getting created and so on. Still remember that, can give you really the goosebumps. But that was 2009, let's say company was founded. 2016, like in 7 years that it goes public. And 2020, when both Dheeraj and we left the company, it was at $1.6 billion in software revenue. I mean, quite remarkable journey.
Fantastic. And today, you and Dheeraj have built DevRev, right? And you are taking directly on Salesforce. You are...
learning, I would say, in building something, and then the pain points that you also see. So I'll say that one of the things that we are super proud of at Nutanix was the very, very high Net Promoter Score, NPS. And NPS, a lot of people that they confuse with the CSAT, customer satisfaction score, because customer satisfaction score, that when you say 90% or 95%, just saying that, okay, people, they are saying that on a score of, let's say, 1 to 10, that they are giving you 9 and above mark, right? That's the way that you can see that. Or maybe when you see 80%, it's like 80% still considered very, very high on the CSAT side. So 80 score that you got. When on Net Promoter Score, when people rate you at 8, it's considered 0. So 7 and 8 score, when customers give you, is considered 0. Below that is minus, negative score. And only 9 and 10 is considered +1. So score goes from -100 to +100. That's the way it is normalized. And despite at the speed that we are growing every year, that we consistently stayed above +90.
Got it.
And when you start to think about that Net Promoter Score, then what are the things that we did that was so differentiated, so different? And that's where that it came down to, okay, are there learnings from this company that we can bring it to the worldwide companies? Because a lot of people don't realize the NPS can be a great product for you, for your company, wherein like you can start very, very small with any company that you can grow really, really big. So many of the accounts that we had very, very small size initially, that they continued to grow into
and became
millions
$10
and
million
10 millions and even 100 million
Okay,
accounts.
a single account giving you $100 million.
Right.
And DevRev, you started with a unique insight that you can marry customer support and product into one and build a new kind of a CRM.
Yeah, like I'll tell you that what happened. Just at Nutanix itself, like $1.6 billion that we were bringing revenue. We were spending close to $400 million just in R&D, product side, $100 million in customer support, close to $1 billion in sales and marketing, let's say. That's the kind of spend that we are seeing. And of the $400 million that we were spending, there was always this question, and which like people do that every quarter, doing the QBR and trying to figure it out, that how much money that I'm spending on, let's say, existing customer, how much that money that I'm spending on new feature set that I'm building, how much of the work that I'm doing on the maintenance work and so on. And this exercise, you bring the data onto the spreadsheet and you go and try to categorize them. It's like the moment you first of all bring the data onto the spreadsheet, it becomes stale. And then after that, you start to do that manual triaging of this, and it's a complete mess. Number of people, amount of time, and all of that requires to do that is very, very difficult problem. And I tried to solve this just in the context of Nutanix alone. And we gave like 2 startups that this money, that can you go and build which can answer these questions. Here are the 10 questions that I want you to answer. Some of that was related to, okay, how much, which are the customers for which I'm doing the work, how much work is going there, how much new innovation, how much maintenance work, and all of that. And a year of work that we did with these companies, and nothing concrete came out from those exercises, where at least it became very, very clear to us that it is a tough problem that we are talking about. And it comes down to, I mean, if the data model itself is not right, and data model, when you think about it, what are the most important thing when you think about in the company?
And let's, for our audience, what is data model? In basic, let's say, explain you to a child.
Yeah. So let's, a data model is like information that you keep. It has to go and like connect to areas of concern that you have. So I'm just saying for the companies, let's say I'll come and explain that. But let's say for the companies, what are the most important thing?
Customer data is most important thing.
And 2 things I would say. There are definitely customers, but there is also product. The company exists because they have product and because they have customers. In the absence of either of them, you don't have a company.
Yeah.
And then there are people inside the company, they work. They work on what? They work for the product and they work for the customers. Yes. So you start to see there is product, there is customers, and there is work associated with the product and customers. Now, when you think about a data model, now data model is like, okay, when I define work itself, how do I really store this work? And how do you really connect this work to the product and to the customers?
Yeah.
And if you could do that really correctly, then you have a beautiful system at that point. So you stop thinking about the current system that exists at that point. So let's say work has very specific characteristics also. It starts and ends. Any work that you think about it. And then it goes through a number of stages and number of workflows that runs on it. So if I'm doing software development, and most people use, let's say, Atlassian Jira.
Yeah.
And that work goes from open state to, let's say, in development stage to in QA stage to, and resolved to closed state. Like that's the way that typically that you'll see on the software development side. But when you do customer support, it's also work, just that we call it different thing. We call it customer tickets. We put it in, let's say, Zendesk or Salesforce Service Cloud, those systems. And there also work, it opens, it gets assigned to an agent. Agent is working on it. If there is product escalations, it goes to the product escalations, comes back. Eventually, you mark it resolved, waiting for the customer to say yes or no. And then you go and close it. Turns out the salespeople also do work. And just that we call that work differently. We call them opportunity. They work on opportunity. And that also opens, goes to the pipeline stage, gets to the upside, gets to the strong upside to commit, to then finally closed as won or lost, let's say. So we thought about it hard. You said like, you know what, there is product, there is customers, there is work, and work has these characteristics. If you could go and represent that in a way with a customizability around the work, then you can build a beautiful system of record. And then you can start to think about, okay, if I have to go and provide the customer support, then I can go and paint it, let's say yellow, call it customer support related work. Can paint it blue, call it development related work.
Yeah.
And so on.
Good. And today is a very historic moment, right? Every product of that we touch, right, at least digitally, and some of it physically also, the cars that we travel in, right, the room that we sit in, a lot of it is governed by artificial intelligence. Yeah.
Yes.
And even the product that you are building, right, at DevRev, I believe it's the heart of it would be built on top of artificial intelligence, machine learning, right? So what has changed in the world in the last 8 years that today everybody, like even common man, is talking about artificial intelligence?
I mean, first of all, like when we started DevRev, we wanted to make sure that the AI is built in, and why, and what does it even need to represent the AI. It is DevRev.ai, not after the fact. It was part of the plan that when we started. And when you think about what do, people are working, and work itself, there is machine has the knowledge, and if machine has the knowledge, can you let machine do the work?
Like making machine the intelligent, right? Machine has data, and what you are saying is, can machine think for itself?
Yeah, the thing is that when machine has the data, and if machine is able to do the work, can you let machine do it? And when machine doesn't know how to do that work, can it call the human to do the work? So in that sense, human can act like a co-pilot to machine. And vice versa also, you can see that wherein human, when they are doing the work, can machine assist doing that work to the human.
What is co-pilot, like in basic terms, if you have to explain to us?
So it's like just think like in the car itself, when you're driving a car, there's a co-pilot, let's say, or in a flight that you see, there is a co-pilot who's sitting, who's assisting you with certain things that either without even or whatever assistance that the people need. Yeah. And we see that in the car also, not car, like the truck, when people are driving, okay, take left or take right, or looking after other things and so on. That in the human sense that we see that co-pilot that exists.
Yeah, if somebody is carrying an expensive load in a machine, let's say a truck, so that the person doesn't sleep off or doesn't commit error. That's to prevent errors.
I mean, even that you see that the co-pilot, when you're driving the co-pilot, when they are driving this big aeroplane, how the machine is acting like a co-pilot also there. Yeah. Okay, I can land without really me doing it, the maneuvering myself. The plane can land in itself. And that's like machine doing all that work directly. So like in the general sense, when you see the co-pilot right now, when machine is given so much information, and if it has it, and if it can determine that this particular question that is being asked, with the information that I have, I'll be able to go and answer that with certain degree of, let's say, certainty, then I'll let machine answer that. And if machine determines that, okay, no, I'm not certain, then it should be able to go and ask some human to come and help answer.
But let's say I'm an author, I'm writing a novel, right? So I have to give some input for machine to write. It's not that machine can tap into my brain and start writing. Yeah. We are away from it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like when you're writing a book, and I'm assuming that is a completely different idea that you have. Machine can't think that way. Machine can only act on things that already exist.
But can machine think also?
No, machine has the data. Yeah. And now we are talking about AGI and all of that.
What is AGI?
Like I can say that first of all, AGI is beyond understanding. It's almost like, okay, can I get to what human kind of thinking or human kind of intelligence? AGI full form is artificial general intelligence. I know a lot of like OpenAI of the world that they're still working towards it. When it is achieved, then we'll all know what it means and so on. I'm watching this TV series on Netflix. And many of those concepts actually come to the surface there. It tries to show that if humankind of thinking or intelligence that comes in, that how it can help a lot of human also, especially people who are, let's say, in their late, let's say, 70s, 80s, 90s, that they need help, that AGI can help them, like through the use of bots, let's say.
Think on their behalf because their neurons are dying or their cognitive abilities are dying.
Right. So how can it really go and help? Now, a lot of questions on ethical part and this part and that part will come. I mean, I'm sure that there is going to be regulations and all that will protect.
When everybody, like even Elon Musk was one of the founders of OpenAI, and when they started OpenAI, the goal was to achieve AGI. And now everybody in the team is divided on whether we should achieve AGI or not.
I mean, it will happen. Any technologies, I mean, when you start to think about it. Now, the question is what kind of regulations, what kind of safety that you go and put in, wherein this, even like the bots that you go and create, that they're all operating under certain rules. And rules basically just can be that, okay, it can never harm human, let's say.
These rules are set by humans to never harm humans.
Yes. I'm saying that it has to be, though, protected.
Yeah.
Because there are always going to be element wherein something or the other or some element will say that, okay, no, it should go and harm certain type of human, let's say.
But I'll give you a use case, right? And you can tell me, a bot is programmed to give the best outcome to the customer, right? And a human has designed the bot with certain set of rules. Now they're building intelligent bots, and probably in some time, not very long, like 6 months, 1 year, there can be a bot that can say, hey, this rule designed by the human is not good enough. So my job is to give the best outcome to the customer. So I'll build my own rules or ignore these rules because I have more data than the human who put these rules.
Yeah, I will find out. I mean, at the end of the day, that they are going to operate under the rules that are defined.
But I think the rules are also changing very fast, right?
And this is where the regulations, I'm assuming that certain regulations, okay, here is the foundational principle. Like today for the human, when they make mistakes, let's say they do certain activities that are considered, let's say, illegal by the law of the land, then there are repercussions of that. Like there is a system that is in place which has to deal with it. Now, something similar, that how do you really go and implement that for machine? That will be really good to see.
Yeah, it's almost
like how do you punish the machine?
Yeah, it's almost like the movie Matrix, right?
Right.
The machine.
It will be quite fascinating.
And nobody imagined that this could accelerate so fast.
November 30th, 2022. I mean, that's when for the first time, I would say the world has realized that there's something that has changed.
Then ChatGPT was released.
ChatGPT was released. And maybe for the first time that people also felt that actually AI could do something.
And if you have to describe to a layman, right, a student in India, why ChatGPT is so special and why it's such a monumental in the history of humankind, why would it be?
First of all, like when you think about the LLMs, large language models.
And let's go back to what is a language model?
Yeah. So people have heard about the NLP for the long time. NLP is natural language processing, right? Natural language processing. Now, which is like, okay, the human, the way that they speak, can you really process that and go and answer certain things? So large language model is supposed to like really get the input and being able to go and answer in a way that the human can understand in a language of, like, let's say the human that they speak. And because it has so many, let's say, parameters with which that it is tuned. So we are talking about 175 billion parameters, let's say, for the GPT 3.5, let's say. We're talking about with those many parameters, when you go and ask a question, that how the model is going and spitting out an answer that human can go and understand is what that the LLMs are providing us today. And ChatGPT was nothing but a UI representation or UI interface through which that human could go and interact with the LLMs or GPT models. That's what it provided a mechanism. Because prior to that okay, through the APIs and you by writing the code and all that, you could go and achieve that.
Yeah.
But that didn't really reach the masses.
Because masses don't understand coding.
Masses don't understand it. So they just want to go and interact it in a way that they will interact with any machine.
Yeah.
So ChatGPT was nothing just a UI interface. But underneath models were something that they had it for quite some time.
And now because it's able to understand and speak in these language models, now the UI they gave was a chatbot. Now UI can be anything. UI can be somebody saying it to you. That's what, that at the end of the call, if you are talking to anybody, you don't know whether now you are talking to a machine or not.
Right. Because like once you have the answer, then the answer is textual, visuals, or through speech. I mean, all those things like text to speech that already exist. So you can easily go and do that now. If you are able to process the incoming text or speech to text, then text to text, then text to speech, then it's like you're completing the entire cycle. It's all there. I mean, then you start to go and apply that to bots, even human bots. You can start to show that.
What I'm really afraid is because if you see the rise of people like Osama bin Laden, they were engineers and they use the technology very well to do attacks. Now with giving, and AI is giving power to everyone, good people, bad people. When such power goes to wicked people who are fanatic by nature, they don't consider themselves bad. They consider themselves highly purposeful.
I mean, one of the things that you see or start to see is leaders of the countries, let's say. And if bot start to makes decisions, let's say, starts to change the outcome of election results. I mean, right there that you see big risk.
I think Indian government slightly got scared and they put in media. There was a recent clip of Prime Minister Modi doing a Garba. Prime Minister Modi doing a Garba. And he later came on an interview, said that the last Garba I did was in class 8th. So this was completely a deep fake, which looked like original Prime Minister Modi.
Deep fake is, we all know that is real now. And what you see in media, what you see on videos anywhere, on social media and all of that, can't rely on anymore. So I don't know what kind of, there is definitely going to be regulations and law of the land, and there's going to be punishment, all kind of things that are going to put in place. Like when you're caught, then there is going to be some ramification of that. Hopefully with that, it reduces. But the bigger problem is when country to country, two different countries, they are at war.
They have different laws.
They have different laws, and it's not like that, okay, one country trying to go and change the outcome of election in your country, that you can go and punish them. How do you, which code that you're going to go and punish
There's no international code.
Right. So those are the kind of risk that...
I think it was 7 years ago when Russia was accused of interfering with US elections to bring President Trump in. Nobody knows the truth, what happened, but it was a very large accusation.
But those things are real now, can just happen. I mean, what you look at it like day to day, like how much time that you spend on, let's say, just on the screen. How many ads do you see? How many news articles that you see? How do you know that these are not fake?
And these are just dropped to change your mind.
That's it. And you see it enough times, it just starts to look real to you.
And earlier, my scare is hackers used to send you fake links. For example, if you have a bank account, they'll change the domain name, and then so it was still detected by intelligent humans. Some people fall prey to it. Now they can also start targeting intelligent humans to program them in such a way.
Yes. And that's what it's doing. Wherein, like, okay, you'll see it enough times that you start to believe that is the truth. It's quite scary.
And probably to such scammed it was called phishing attack. So I think now phishing attacks will become more intelligent. So they'll not try to phish you on the first attempt. They'll try to phish you on the 100th attempt once they make you.
And the thing is that they are not asking you anything else. You're just seeing it. You're just changing your opinion. You don't have to click on anything. So you're watching ads all the time. You're just seeing it all around you.
So I think it will be very hard to differentiate what is truth, what is not.
Right. So this probably is the biggest challenge.
Do you have any fear that AI is progressing at a speed that the best of humans are not able to keep a pace with it?
I mean, it's a very interesting question. First of all, like such technology, first basically they move slowly and then suddenly that's what happens, and it feels like that it is moving very very fast right now. Now to say that whether human, there are a lot of good use cases by the way, and there are a lot of bad use cases also will come along. In at least in my head right now, it is if cognitive load that the human have in doing anything that they do, a lot of busy work that they do, and if machine learning or AI, at least in the context of let's say work that we do day to day at work, it starts to take away, then we have more time to think, more time to do a lot more innovative work. So in that sense that it should help in big way for the people. In fact, even for the people where it takes away certain jobs completely, but then they can focus on something that is more meaningful to go and do it. Maybe I was doing one thing that is now being done by the bot, but I can go and learn new skills because there is also interfaces that are getting developed with which I can do a lot more other things, adjacent areas of work that I can start to do it. So it's going to be interesting, in my opinion, that biggest worry is that, okay, from the people who are trying to do things that is going to be harmful for the people versus like just the cognitive load that it is taking away from people, which is like mostly positive.
And which are the jobs that you think will first go away because of AI? What kind of jobs are they?
I think again that if you're not producing something from let's say yourself, if you're not producing something yourself, and most of the time that okay, a question is being asked to you and you have to go and look up for that information, search for that information, or you read about that information, that's what you are going and answering. Those are the things that you'll start to see that the bot can do, because they can go and search for the information. They have plethora of information right there, and they can continuously learn about this information. Like while human will have to go and sleep and so much time, but machine, they don't need to go and sleep. So those are the jobs that I definitely see as the first one, which can easily be displaced. But that just says that, okay, yeah, because machine can do a better job, frankly, there.
A few use cases that I think of is first is news anchors that consume news from 10 contents and summarize it. Second is, as we discussed, customer support agents that are on the other end, that their job is to find the solution which is sitting somewhere, not to create solution and relay it back to the customer.
Right. Yeah, in fact, you'll see even there are a lot of people who just go and ask the question, some simple question, getting that answer, tabulate it, and then go and create the reports and so on. Many of those things also, program manager, you'll see even like the jobs that in the sales development rep that they do, in fact, take the information and they just have to go and speak to the customers, like do a lot of dial and a lot of email and a lot of campaign and so on. Many of these things that can be automated by machine. I was in Palo Alto, in my office next to it, and there is a cafe. I was seated there, and there was a newspaper, and on the front line, on the front page, it was saying that the city council looking into the usage of AI to reduce the workforce. And I was like, okay, if it is reaching to the city level now, there is something real that is happening. They're all trying to save cost now, and they think that there is something in here that can help reduce the cost. So, I mean, it will get to that level, just a matter
It's a
of time.
matter
But
of time.
there's going to be some other jobs that will get created then after that.
And what are the jobs that you think that will be created first because of this revolution?
The very first thing, like just the tons of regulations.
Yeah.
That means that every company will require people that
More regulators.
inside of ethical committee and compliance, and I mean tons of jobs that will just right there will get created inside the company itself that you can see. Company will be doing a lot more work. I mean, maybe with the same resources, will expected to do a lot more work. Maybe the cost will go down even more further because the cost of development is going down. So accessibility to the technology will just happen more and more. Somebody who Vinod Khosla spoke about that there are going to be a billion developers.
The world's population right now is, I think, 8 billion.
Yeah. So when you were talking about that, what is happening with the access to the technology now, that people will be able to go and program very, very easily. Now you don't need a very, very specialized degree to be able to go and program.
You don't need to learn Python to program.
Yeah. You can you can ask the machine to write in Python or write it in JavaScript or TypeScript or whatever language, like just with one prompt that you can do that. Like remember that this inversion of control that we talk about, what is happening right now. Inversion of control is previously for machine to be able to go and do the work, we had to go and write the language in which machine can understand it, which is like the programming languages that we had to go and write. That's the only way that machine will do the work. Now it has reversed. The role has reversed wherein machine has to learn the human languages to do the work. That's what has happened. So I don't have to go and even learn any of those things. As long as that I have the analytical skills, which what question to ask or what I'm planning to go and build, that's all. It's just the instructions that I have to go and give. And the machine is supposed to understand it and create and do the job. Which language that they go and program internally, I don't care, really. So that's the inversion of control.
And thereby people, like it's in news, I don't know whether it's true or not, that prompt engineering is on high demand.
I mean, those things, at least in my mind, which is analytical skills. Okay, what more information that I can go and give the machine and can route them to in the right direction. My thinking is that even that will become a bot over time. That will start to prompt based on the domain area that I am, that it's able to go and feed that information. So right now, obviously, prompt engineering, because then you can get the answer the way that you want it for the certain domain and all. But you can also feed that domain expertise or the information by the bot. And I'm sure that there are companies that will get formed which will just do that, which is just feeding the information.
Specialized prompt engineering companies.
Yes. Here is a bot that just does the prompt engineering for you.
So we both are of previous generations, right? But how do you, and whatever gets defined in the new generation, for example, social media got started because of the Gen Z of today. How is Gen Z today using AI? Because that will shape up how AI gets used ultimately.
I mean, I can say that I have 2 daughters.
Okay, how old
They're
are they?
both Gen Z.
Okay.
And what are they using right now? I can see the ChatGPT definitely is getting used. That's the way that they are getting introduced to AI.
For reducing their homework?
So it's interesting. It's mostly for asking questions right now in most schools, and they don't allow them to use. So they don't. But to go and ask a question, get an answer, and then go and figure it out, like how to do it. Instead of going to Google to search for the information, they're
searching on ChatGPT.
They're just going and searching on the ChatGPT now, or asking the question and getting the more precise answer on ChatGPT. And even for learning things, that they're going more to this interface, newer interface, versus going to Google. Video definitely is playing a big role for them, which is like the YouTube and all, for searching the information and going and watching that. That is like still harder to go and just displace right away. But I'm sure that we'll go and see a lot more coming there.
And the other thing is that the AI models that people are training, right? How do we ensure that they don't have any confirmation or harmful biases? Because we don't know, right? The input data or the data models that you talked about, where's the source of those data models?
That's a risk. So, especially when you go and look at any general purpose models that is out there, and what exactly are you using? If you're using that for the entirety of the information to really get certain things done, then it's probably going to be hard. So, let's say we think about it a lot in the context of the companies. You have data, you have information. Can you really restrict all your answer or any kind of things that you want to answer only to that set of information that you're providing? So use that, and then use the LLMs only to translate once you have the information in a language that the human can go and understand it. But don't use the intelligence or the biases that are set with those LLMs today. So most enterprises that you will see that they will just do it that way. In many cases that you'll also see that, especially for the enterprises again, that they will go and train the LLMs with the data set for their domains with their data, instead of just going and using the general purpose for all things that they want to do.
And there's a popular term called reinforcement learning. What is that?
I mean, it just comes down to every time that you miss something and human comes and answers something, then how do you use that information for the next time around when people ask the similar question?
Can you give a live example
So
of that?
let's say a customer asked a question and machine goes and determine that, okay, this answer I don't really have with certainty that I can go and answer. So at which point a human will come and answer. And when a human answered that question, once it is clarified, let's say somebody internally reviewed it and said that, okay, this is the right answer, by the way, then at that point, the machine has to learn it. That next time when similar question comes, I can go and use that as an answer. So it's like reinforcement learning that is happening in the process. And you can be, that's one interface that you see. The second one is that when machine itself is answering, and you'll see typically that there is a thumbs up or thumbs down.
Yeah.
That people put as part of that.
The ChatGPT interface.
Yeah. So with which also the machine is learning that, okay, the answer that I'm giving, is that accepted answer or not accepted answer? So with which that it can, next time around, can change, alter the answer.
And coming to Indian context, right? The first company that you built, Nutanix, I believe there was very less Indian engineers or Indian workforce that you hired, which was sitting there in India. And you and Dheeraj visited India seldom. But here in DevRev, I have seen you visiting India more and more. What has changed in the last 15 years?
Yeah.
That is.
So first of all, like Nutanix was founded in 2009.
Yeah.
2013 we came to India.
Yeah.
So Bangalore office was set back then. One thing that you will see, and I was talking to another founder today, the B2B culture, particularly in Bangalore, is a lot more B2C that you see here.
Yeah.
And less B2B. You go to Chennai, that you find a lot more B2B culture there. So for a company like Nutanix, like even to come and establish there that time, we had to go and hire people, a lot of people from the college back then, to really go and build what we built out of here. Obviously, like right now, more than 1,000 people that we have at Nutanix just in Bangalore office alone, let's say. There is a lot of learning that came, I would say, during that period, what we could go and build and how to go and build it, and how you go and look at also people that were quite young, let's say out of college, give them the internship, onboard them as new college grad, provide them like all the way that they can be very, very successful inside the company, give them the environment with which that they can really produce similar to what like people, let's say back in the US also will go and produce. That learning this time around, that we didn't want to wait for 4 years. So with DevRev on day one, that we decided that, okay, we just need to find out where is the outside US, where will be the first office, that we decided with Bangalore. And you also see like there are, at least on the enterprise B2B mindset, and there are Google came in, like especially with the Google Cloud that you see
Yeah.
that they established here. AWS came in, not Amazon.com,
Yeah.
but AWS
Yeah.
part that came in India during those period, like 20. We are talking about post 2013.
Yeah.
That has happened. So this time around, just made it much easier. The other part that you asked me, like we travel a lot more. I was traveling quite a bit during Nutanix days also, at least once a quarter, because we had a large presence here. But what you see also the SaaS, I mean, what has happened, the talent pool definitely is there, but also lots of founders now. Founders-led companies that out of India, like, I don't know, like maybe right now, close to 4,000 SaaS companies just out of India alone right now. So that is quite interesting. I mean, you come here, you learn quite a bit also from these founders. But
what is the noticeable change that you are seeing? Since you mentioned you have been coming here every quarter since 2013, and you are sitting at the mecca of innovation, which is San Francisco.
First of all, like in terms of the talent pool and all that, I mean, it was always there. One thing that has changed that we see definitely, like I'm looking at 2013 to right
2023.
now. Yeah, so just the services mindset to product mindset. Like we were providing to the world a lot of services back then. To now, we are providing a lot of product out of this place. So that's a big change that has happened, and because of which also what you see is a lot of talent actually they stay put in India now, as opposed to like in the past that everybody wanted to just move out.
Yeah.
To go and build products somewhere
You,
else.
I believe, moved out in 2000 because there were not so many opportunities in India.
There was
like
not.
that.
Yeah. So that's the reason like why you move out, because there was not product that is getting built. Every extension of the team or company that they were getting built here, they were doing maintenance work mostly. They were not building product. You'll see that the 1.0 the product is built somewhere else. It's always like maybe the enhancement, a small enhancement and all of that, which is I'll put in the maintenance category that was built, which has reversed completely now. And every company, like now you see that the extension is built, but the extension is not to go and do the maintenance work, but to build the primary product. So that has changed. The second thing that I have noticed is previously people wanted to become manager very fast. So I have 3 years, 5 years of experience. Now I want to become manager, which was like the social pressure that the people had. And that also has changed dramatically. Now people wants to stay technical. They want to grow in the technical ladder. They started to realize that also there's not much difference in terms of the comp structure and all of that. In fact, you can grow a lot more just being technical. It's like one change. The second change that I have seen, which is like quite interesting to watch.
And in terms of, DevRev, right? You built DevRev.ai first, right? What are the difference between you seeing the companies that were not built AI first and now trying to integrate AI, and companies like you who was built on AI on day zero?
I think first of all, I would say I'll normalize it for the people. Probably thought that maybe AI is very hard, or I need very specialized.
You need a PhD in AI.
Yeah, I mean, like only if you hire the people with the AI background and like PhDs and all, that's the only way that you can be an AI company. I go back to just looking at AWS, like even just when you go and look at each of the services that you go and consume today out of AWS, back then each of those services were multiple companies before, and it required a specialized skill set for you to be able to even go and use those services from those companies. You had to have the deep expertise. Not anymore. You just go and you consume the API, and you see that because of which there are so many applications that are built by so many people around the world sitting in their dorm room also, that they are able to go and do that. And the question is, can you really go and extend that to the AI also? And which is what is happening, because of which we'll see that just every application will have the AI built in there. So I'm talking about just the orchestration layer itself, which, let's say if you pick LangChain, open source, that anybody can go and use it. Then you start to look at, okay, here are the embedding models, here is the caching layer, here is the vector database. Here is the foundational model. These are all can be consumed with the API now. It's not that it requires you to have the massive amount of knowledge of the AI itself. So I think the normalization is prior to, let's say, 2 years ago, I would say that it was out of reach for the people. And today it's all within reach for the people. And the same people can go and in their companies can start to use or provide AI as part of their platform. It's not a differentiator anymore. It will not be. It will become just a necessity for you to stay relevant.
So you're saying every company that starts today, every technical company that starts today will be AI first or has to be AI first?
I mean, it just becomes anything that I'm doing with your product and that requires me to go and write a bunch of things in your product, that AI should just take care of it for me.
It's just like 25 years ago, every software that we used to interact with, most were command prompt based. And I needed a special command prompt specialist to interact. And then the world of UI came in. And that's why you're saying with clean UI, the next thing is where I don't need that kind of complex UI to navigate a software.
I mean, we'll have to start to think about when we say there are going to be 1 billion developers. Let's say that's what Mr. Vinod Khosla is saying. And that simply means that how do you really go and create 1 billion developer? The only way that can happen is when you make the interface so simple, right? And that's what, like, every company who are coming out or whatever that they're building, they'll have to make the interface so simple that anybody should be able to go and use it. It doesn't require a specialized skill set for me to be able to go and use. And the only way that you can give that kind of interface, if you go and build the AI as part of your product. You have to just make it simple. I can come and ask question and the system should just do it for me, instead of me going and clicking at 20 different places to achieve that task, which is possible today. You just need to go and use these APIs and models that already exist.
So in a way, it's going back to where it all started. Initially, every software was based on command prompt, that I need to learn the language of command prompt. And then it shifted to user interface with hundreds of buttons, which in the backend it was still command prompt. And now I'm back to language which I understand, and I don't need to use a button. I can go on a bank's, let's say it might not be a website anymore. I can go to a bank's interface, authenticate myself, and I say transfer rupees 500 from Siddharth to Manoj's account.
This is
and
it.
I don't need any application.
This is it. I mean, maximum that it will give you an interface saying that, okay, is this what you meant?
Yes.
Just to reconfirm. And you say yes, go.
So ultimately it will lead down to all crumbling down of all interfaces.
Yes. But then underlying that will be the .ai.
Yeah. But then it spurs also a question of, then why would a person need a mobile phone with hundreds of apps? Because if I can get a single interface, like that's what everybody in the world was initially starting to build it, right? Everybody wanted to build a super app. WeChat became the super app of China, but I think the rest of the world, there was no super app.
I mean, still there is workflows, like for the kind of work that you're doing. And every companies are still going to go and specialize in that. Because in the end, whatever prompt or questions that you're asking, some workflow still has to go and run in the background that you're doing.
But I don't care about if somebody wants to make the life of the user super easier. And
you're right. From the user perspective, they can just come and ask, and it has to really then transfer to the right app.
Yeah.
To ask
the
that
background,
question,
which app is running, user doesn't care.
Yeah, probably that. Yeah, you're right. Just like, okay, I can come to the Google, I can ask a question and it should just figure it out, like, okay, which app and how to get that information.
Order
once I'm authenticated.
Uber ride from me, I want to go from here to there. And
those will just happen much sooner.
The crumbling of, I think, app software interfaces.
Book a ticket for me from here to there.
Yeah.
I mean, those are pretty simple.
Why do I need to go to 10 websites, compare prices, then figure out if this date ticket is available or not?
That is still already happening if you just think about it. Like aggregator sites, that's what they were trying to do. They're still giving the options and so on there.
But that's what ultimately OpenAI is doing through ChatGPT. Google is giving you 10 options. Why do you want 10 options where I can give you the right answer, what you desire?
I mean, the right answer itself, what you think is the right answer, is still human will say, no, I still have an opinion.
Yeah.
So give me some choices.
Yeah.
And then I'll go and decide. Because what you think is the right answer, I may think that, okay, maybe for 2%, 3% of the cases, that might not be right.
I think that is what it's termed as hallucination, right?
Yeah,
Or is it different?
I start to think like when we talk about hallucination, even human hallucinate, right?
What do you mean by hallucination?
Hallucination is like, okay, you don't know the answer, but you try to like relate it to something else and try to go and answer something, and which simply means that, okay, it's not a precise answer, it's not the answer that actually is the right answer for the question that is being asked, but you are hallucinating. Now, in the organization also, what you will see, first of all, you ask same question to 10 different people in the organization, you'll get different answer.
Yeah.
You'll not get the same answer. Now, do we say that they're all right answer? Do we say that, okay, only 2 answers are actually precisely right answer, the rest of the answers are near about, or maybe they are hallucinating also? And that's what that you will see with the human. But when human does, they do it, we don't take a note, we don't say anything.
We internally think that they are confused.
So we might think that way, but when machine does it, then we say that, okay, look, the machine is hallucinating. Now, if you provide this is where that, okay, here is the set of documents or the information that I have, and I'm going to just feed you. You cannot really go out of the information that I have provided. If you don't have the answer, just say that, okay, I don't have the answer. This is where the safe zone is. You only look at this document, nothing else.
Yeah.
And then, so that's where that you start to remove the hallucination.
That was ultimately initially page 404. When a website couldn't be found on a browser, it used to say, I'm not able to find the website. But if now it gives the incorrect website, that's, I think, hallucination.
Yes, you're right. So here what you will see, and what like every enterprise, the way that they're going to go and adopt the AI is like, okay, here is this, I want you to just play within this boundary. Here is the information that I'm providing you. If you can get the answer, then answer it. If not, then just quietly say that, okay, I don't know the answer. Let me get some human to come and answer. And that's the boundary that we'll start to play there. And that's the way that you start to remove the hallucination. Now, when we talk about the hallucination right now, it's all in the context of this open thing that we ask question, and machine doesn't want to say that, okay, I don't know the answer. It goes and gives you the answer. And because we are human, we kind of also understand, we see that, okay, I know that you are hallucinating right now because this is not the right answer.
Yeah. But to determine whether a hallucination is happening by a machine, you need an intelligent human on the other end. Else machine will start to program you.
Right. So the adoption, particularly for the businesses and all that, that's why you see that why they are limiting that. And there are a lot of companies that are coming in, try to go and solve for it.
So that means that any enterprise or any business, when they are giving access to AI tools to their employees, they are very heavily guardrailed.
They are guarded. You can't just go and you can't say that, okay, I can run the business on ChatGPT. You cannot.
Yeah.
Just like you can't run your business just saying that,
on
okay,
Google.
Go to Google and ask the question, and whatever answer that you get, you can go and run the business, right? You can't. So previously, nobody was even allowed to go and get the answer unless like I am providing in the form of FAQ or KBs that I have made it open, and you go and determine whether even the link that you go and click, it will take you to my website. And that's the way you know that this information is right or wrong. And here, that's why it will be guarded very heavily, that you can only come to my chatbot and ask this question. And I will ensure that the answer that you get is the right answer.
I think the world hasn't seen enough bad actor use cases of ChatGPT now, because if I'm searching on Google for a cure, Google will not give me the answer. Google will redirect me to WebMD. But now ChatGPT will give me the answer of what medicine should I take when I have fever. And if it gives me a wrong medicine and doesn't know the history, probably we'll start seeing repercussions.
I'm sure like the domain specific things that will start to happen. So just wait for maybe GPT-5.
Yeah.
GPT-4 already is quite intelligent, but yeah, GPT-5 probably will take us to a different level. I'm quite hopeful though on the medicine side. We already see on the legal side that it's making quite a bit of an impact already. You can go and talk to the lawyers. They are already talking about, okay, there are so many jobs right now in the company that the machine is able to do much better job versus like the human in the law firm. So we're seeing that use cases they're emerging, which is like quite safe also, with their information that is fed to the machine to only restrict yourself
Yeah.
in that domain only.
So thank you so much, Manoj. It was a wonderful conversation, and especially your insights on AI. I loved interacting.
Thank you for having me. A lot of questions were quite insightful. I also got to learn quite a bit in this conversation. So thanks
Thanks a lot.
for having me.